All right, today we are breaking down something called the think process. It's a framework for tackling those big, complicated challenges. And it argues that the real solution, well, it's probably not what you're thinking. But let's kick things off with a question that I'm willing to bet feels super familiar to all of us. Why do we get stuck repeating the same mistakes? Despite our best intentions, we just fall back into the same old loops. It's maddening, right? Well, it turns out the reason might not have anything to do with willpower. And that brings us to the big idea, the core concept behind this whole thing. And honestly, it's a total game changer. Lasting change is first and foremost a readiness problem, not an action problem. So what does that actually mean? It means all that just try harder advice is missing the point completely. It's not about more effort. It's about being truly prepared for the change in the first place. Okay, so let's dive into that. Section 1, the real reason we fail. And like we said, this isn't about effort. It's about readiness. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of where the actual problem lies. This lack of readiness is what gets us trapped in what you could call a cycle of repeated mistakes. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? It's that project at work that always hits the same wall, that argument you keep having with someone, or that diet you start every single Monday. That's the cycle. And here's the absolute heart of the issue. We keep trying to solve these deep internal problems with shiny external tools. A new app, a new planner, a new self-help book. But that approach is basically doomed from the start. If you try to fix an internal readiness issue with an external tool, you are going to fail 100% of the time. So you might be asking, okay, if it's an internal problem, why is readiness so darn hard to achieve? Well, the answer is literally inside your own head. As we're going to see in Section 2, our brains have these hidden barriers. You can almost think of them as biological and cognitive villains that are actively working against us. Meet villain number 1, the amygdala. The easiest way to think about this is as your brain's emotional panic button. It's an ancient part of our biology, it's incredibly powerful, and it reacts in an instant to anything it even thinks is a threat, whether that's a real danger or just a tough conversation you need to have. Now check this out, because this is where it gets wild. It's pure biology. Your amygdala, that panic button, gets information a full 40 milliseconds before your cortex, your thinking brain, even knows what's going on. That's a massive head start for emotion. It literally means we are hardwired to feel first and think second. And that's why our gut reactions so often completely take over. And it gets worse. When that panic button gets hit, your body gets flooded with the stress hormone cortisol. And here's the real kicker. High levels of cortisol chemically block complex thought. They literally shut down the part of your brain you need to solve problems. So trying to think your way out of a stressful situation is like trying to drive a car with the emergency brake pulled all the way up. It's just not going to work. And our final villain is a sneaky one, cognitive dissonance. Think of this as your brain's internal lawyer. Its one and only job is to make you feel like you're consistent and correct. So the second you make a mistake, this lawyer jumps in to justify it, to rationalize it, to filter out any facts that might make you feel uncomfortable. This is the very thing that keeps us from seeing our own part in a problem and locks us right back in that cycle of mistakes. Okay, so our brains are kind of working against us. Sounds pretty bleak, right? Well, not exactly. This brings us to the first part of the actual solution, the think mindset. Now, this isn't an action plan. It's a set of 5 internal shifts you have to make to get yourself ready for real change. The entire foundation of this is your attitude. It starts with self-efficacy. That's the deep down belief that you are actually capable of succeeding. It's what turns a dead-end "I don't know" into a much more powerful "I don't know yet." And when you pair that with a growth mindset, the idea that your skills aren't fixed, they can be built, you create this incredible resilience that lets you push through when things get tough. And this all leads to the Think framework itself, which is really just a series of brutally honest questions you have to ask yourself. T is for tolerance. Can you get over yourself and be objective? H is for honesty. Can you be truthful about your role in this mess? I is for intention. What's the moral compass that's going to guide you? N is for nerve. Do you have the courage to do the hard thing? And finally, K is for knowledge. What have you actually learned from all this that can change how you see things? Now, once you've done that tough internal work, once you are genuinely ready, then and only then can you move on to the external action. And that brings us to section 4, the process action plan, which is a structured strategy for actually tackling the problem. The logic behind this is borrowed from computational thinking. And the idea is pretty simple, really. Instead of staring at some huge, messy, overwhelming challenge, you break it down. You chop it up into smaller, manageable pieces. This whole approach keeps that emotional panic button from being pushed, and it lets your thinking brain stay in the driver's seat. And here's the roadmap. First, you pinpoint what you don't know so you can reveal the real root cause of the problem. From there, you explore your options. Then you critique and communicate your chosen plan. After that, it's time to execute and evaluate how it's going. And finally, you share what you learned to make sure the solution actually sticks. It's a clear path from total chaos to real clarity. So this all sounds pretty good on paper, right? But the real question is, does any of this actually work in the real world? Well, in our final section, we're going to look at the proof. And the numbers, they tell a pretty amazing story. Get this, when this framework was used in a job readiness program for really vulnerable people, we're talking ex-offenders, people in recovery, focusing on their attitude and readiness first led to an incredible 85% retention success rate. That's not just a statistic, that's people's lives being completely turned around. Or how about this one? In a school setting where emotions can run really high, using these same strategies for conflict resolution brought the number of violent incidents down to 0. Not just reduce them, 0. That just shows you how powerful this is in high-stakes environments. And this isn't just for individuals either. When an entire organization applied this framework, it helped them get crystal clear on their mission and their strategy. And the result? They landed over $300,000 in new annual funding, which let them massively expand their services. So, if you boil this all down, if there's just one thing you take away from all this, it should be this. We're always so focused on the action, on the what to do. But the biggest, most frustrating challenges we face, they aren't action problems at all. At their very core, they are readiness problems. It's the deep internal work that has to happen first. Which really just leaves us with one final question for you to think about. That big challenge you're facing in your life right now, chances are it's a readiness problem. So the real question is, are you prepared to stop looking for an external fix and finally start solving it from the inside out?